this door here, I don't mind it. I might just eventually paint it and maybe get some new hardware and do something with this. I don't like this curtain. And then I actually have a really cute cottage door that matches our front that's gonna go on the outside of this door. We just didn't put it up this summer, A, because I haven't painted it yet, and B, it's been a lot easier just opening one door to let the kids and the dog out. Andrew installed these, so this is where this brush is supposed to live. This is actually a horse brush, like I think it's for brushing horse hooves. We keep it here and we brush Cooper's paws off when he comes in after he's been playing in the dirt. And that little hook is for that towel. Same thing, we wipe him off when he's wet. We put just 2 hooks up, just, you know, nothing fancy, in the winter because we were playing in the backy a lot. So instead of having to trudge through the whole house to get our stuff off, we can just have outdoor gear hanging right here. So then you come into the kitchen, and the kitchen is definitely the room I want to do next. I've been cooking a few things all day, so the kitchen's pretty messy, but you've seen this in my other videos. So I put in this bar with these curtains. On the insides of our shelves, I painted everything white. They were brown before, and we added just the liners. So every single cupboard has been painted. I did that when we first moved in. We got a new stove and put in a gas stove. It was an electric stove. It was really old before. I think what will happen next, even before we redo the kitchen, is this is a really old fridge, and we're gonna replace it, I think, with a double door fridge or freezer on the bottom style that is counter depth, because this sticks out way too far. And we'll get rid of this. This is like our spice rack in our laundry chute. So that's gonna move to the bathroom, so we can get rid of this whole unit and have a fridge that's maybe like bigger this way, but doesn't stick out as far. I actually really like these cupboards and drawers. They have a really nice cottagey feel to them. I think I would just paint them white and add some new handles, and that would be pretty good. Obviously, we wanna get a new countertop, new backsplash, maybe a double sink, but I'm thinking maybe just one big wide rectangular sink instead. We installed this dishwasher we got probably 2 years ago now. It was really the only spot in the kitchen we had for it, so building that in somehow to the kitchen reno might be tricky, but we'll figure it out. Obviously, we would want to get a new hood. The pantry is probably messy, but it's really deep. And like, especially up high, like high and deep don't work. Like you really can't reach anything. So reconfiguring that somehow, or maybe having stuff that pulls out so that you could get to the back easier. Get new flooring, and I mentioned in another video, I don't know if it'll be up before this one, but we found this exact floor on Kijiji, and we have a ton. So we're gonna be able to make it all one floor, so no thresholds, nothing, which I really like, because our plan is to get rid of this wall and get rid of this wall. This is a load-bearing wall. We had a little wall that came out here, as you can see, came out like this, and then this wall actually came out to here, and he did have a door here, the previous owner. So we got rid of the door, we knocked down these walls. We haven't patched this because, again, we're probably going to tear this whole wall down, but we'll need somebody to come in and do it because we're going to try and recess a beam into the attic to make it properly load-bearing without the wall there. Once that's gone, hopefully an island will be there, and this whole area will be open concept, which I think is just going to open up the space a little bit more and make it so much easier to cook and do stuff in the kitchen and still watch the kids when they're playing in here. The annoying thing we do have to get checked. So this cord, which you'll probably see in some of my videos, is taped, comes into the hallway and plugs in here, because for some reason, even though the fridge is marked as being on its own circuit, if we plug the fridge in where it's supposed to be plugged in and run the microwave or the can opener, so on this circuit or that one, the fridge power goes out. Well, like all of them stop working. And then what's even weirder is the oven here is plugged in, also supposed to be on its own circuit. However, this outlet, when you turn off the oven circuit, also goes out. So the wiring is very strange. And then this light in our front hall, which we did replace, seems to leak energy because even when you turn it off, it has a bit of a glow to it. So we need an electrician to come in and figure out what's going on. I painted it green when we moved in. I am totally over the green now, and we painted all of our trim white, but the trim was previously done with oil paint, and we did not use oil paint, and so it's chipping everywhere, and it's just old style too, so we're gonna eventually replace that as well. You guys are getting the tour of this beautifully clean house. Just got the kids to bed. We had a late supper, haven't even cleaned up supper yet. My husband just left for work, so it's been a day. So now we're in the dining room, and there's not much to talk about here. This is actually the original light that was here, but I wrapped a bunch of twine around it and like hot glued it and stuff, and then got newer, sort of nicer bulbs for that exposed look, because my husband and I could not agree on what kind of light we wanted for the dining room. Everything I really liked, he hated, and vice versa. So finally I was like, you know what, I'm gonna spend 20 bucks and just do something to the existing light, because the existing light was really ugly. And I said, you know what, I can't make it worse, and if we still don't like it, it's not like we're any worse off. So he agreed, and we actually kind of like it, and it ended up being sort of like a talking point when people come over for the first time. So we'll keep it for now. The windows, so we put these curtains in. We actually didn't have curtains on these windows or in the kitchen for probably the first year we lived here. The backyard's pretty private, especially in the summer when everything's grown in, but I mean, you still like curtains, right? Pretty much every outlet and every light switch in the house I redid and updated. None of them matched. They were all really old. So I just wanted something that looked a little cleaner. And then same with our vent. So our actual vent size is a little odd. It's not something you can just get at like a Home Depot. You have to order it. You could probably, I mean, I know you can get that size on Amazon, but it's a little bit more expensive. Anyways, I just found some brown spray paint, and I just went around and spray painted all the vent covers. This one's wearing off a little bit just because my son's high chair tends to scrape there. There's a lot of traffic right here, but most of them are in really good shape. It's only this one and one other one that don't look so great anymore. Our chairs, I reupholstered these when we moved in, but the kids, mostly I guess my oldest son, my youngest doesn't really sit in the chairs yet. And even sometimes my husband and I have spilled, and these are cloth. So I actually went to Fabricland, I think 2 days ago, and just took a look at what they had available. And I think I might get almost like, you know, those tablecloths that are like, I don't even know, like kind of cloth on one side, but like a rubbery material on the other side. I think I might try, like, you know, kind of like those tablecloths you would use when you're camping, something like that, in like a similar color to this, and reupholster these again, because then I could just wipe them clean. You can, if you use an SOS pad or just like a Brillo pad or something and Windex, you can usually get most of these stains out, but it doesn't last forever, and it's not like my kids not being messy. So eventually I will replace those. This goes up to the loft, which I'll show you later. We have talked about, like, eventually, if this actually became a bedroom for one of us, maybe doing a pocket door here that you could just slide open and close. I don't see that happening anytime soon. It's definitely not on the priority, at least not even in the top 10 or 20. I made these shelves out of just some old wood that we had. Oh, they need to be dusted. And we had these plants in the living room, and then once we started doing renos, I moved them over here. But they are not happy at all. Truthfully, indoor plants have not been my thing. It's been my husband that's maintained them all. He says they need their soil changed. I won't disagree with him because he's probably right, but we just haven't done that. And would love to get I mean, this works perfectly fine. Truly, if it was white, I wouldn't even think twice about it. It's just because it's this yellowed color that I feel like it's just gonna stick out against everything else. So updating that eventually, but because, like I said before, we want to take this wall down, I'm not actually sure what we'll do with this. I don't know where it will get moved or how that will happen, so we'll have to figure that out. And over here, you'll see this is my keyboard. It doesn't actually go here normally. It's only here because of our renos. Those are some new school clothes that just came from my son today. Like I told you, we didn't even clean up dinner. So over here right now, this used to be in the front hall. I think we're gonna get rid of it once the front hall is done. And then this is all our stuff that's normally in our front hall closet. And right now it's just living in the living room. So it's really cluttered in here, and I cannot wait to get this out of here. Over here, we put these curtains in with a curtain rod, and then our dog jumped up one time because he loves to bark at the window and yanked, like I think his paws actually grabbed the curtains. And so now it's totally bowed. And I was like, oh, I'll just replace the curtain rod. I'll get a new one. I think it was pretty cheap from IKEA. But then I'm like, oh, he's probably just going to do it again. So why even bother? I actually got this. This is a really cute homemade gift I got from a coworker. It's just got some potpourri inside of it. And my husband and I actually built this shelf back here as a lamp. This is a $100 lamp, which is more than I usually spend on pretty much anything. But I wanted a specific look for this living room, and it was the cheapest version I could find. So I just went for it. But nobody ever break it, because I do not want to have to replace it. We actually built this, and it is like mounted right into the wall, and it is so strong that probably like 6 full-grown adults could stand on it and it wouldn't even budge. And what we did was we rewired our outlets, because they were down below, like close to the floor, like most outlets are, up here, because we left no gap between our couch and the shelf. So this way you can just plug stuff right in there, and same with over here, and not have to worry about trying to reach underneath. But we do still have outlets underneath, and that's where the lamp is plugged in. This couch we got also on Kijiji. I really wanted an L shape like this. Leather is like, you're talking like $6 or $7 grand for a size like this. Truthfully, in this space, a probably better couch would be just an L shape without the chaise. However, the thinking we had was one person lays here, one person lays here, and 2 people are comfortable to watch a movie on TV. So we were like, you know what? Yeah, okay, maybe the chaise doesn't really fit this space, but we, at the time, were watching more TV than we do now. For both of us to be comfortable laying down, and just for more seating in general, we just figured it was worth it. To even buy a new cloth couch, they're so expensive. And I just had visions, like my kids and my dog are going to be all over this couch, and they're going to spill food, and my dog is going to get fur all over it, and you know, there's going to be dog smell on the cushions. And why am I going to spend $5,000 on something and then be so stressed every time anyone's on it? So we spent way less. It's still a great couch. It cleans so nicely. I don't stress. Like, I've literally watched my kids spill hummus all over it, and I don't even stress because it comes up so easily. This table is actually the bottom of a table that we made for my son a couple years ago, and we actually made a big top that sits right on this that has lips, and the idea was he could play with his trains and his cars and his blocks, and they wouldn't slide off the edge. And it's usually downstairs with the top on it, and he uses it all the time. But we had company a week or 2 ago, and we needed a table here, so we just brought it up to use, and it's kind of stayed here. We bought all the lumber, and my husband planed it all and got it all ready to build a coffee table. But we, at the time, I forget how pregnant I was, but anyways, we were like, you know what? This whole house is hardwood, and we're going to have a little one learning to crawl and walk. It makes more sense to leave this space open and have this carpet as the play area for him than to put a table, because the table that we're building is going to be heavy duty, because we don't want the kids to be able to pull it over on themselves. Then over here, this is just an IKEA unit, and we just left it here for now because it's really easy. All these bins are sort of themed. Like, this is like the books and the crafts and the learning. There's a car bin. There's like the baby like sort and play stuff. We've got one that's got like balls and stuff like that, and then that one I think is puzzles. It's really easy. The kids know where everything is. It's easy for them to put stuff away and clean it up. So we are leaving it for now. But the vision for this, we have the insert for an electric fireplace that's currently in our bedroom, but I would like to put it here and build a surround for it that maybe has a couple drawers, but not much, and have it sort of like as a corner unit that the speakers could go on either side of, that we could maybe hide some of this stuff like inside so you wouldn't see it, to go under our TV. And then once we built that, if we needed to, then we could buy those, I forget what they're called, but they stick on the wall and they hide your cables so you don't see all your cables everywhere. Going along with these speakers, we did actually, my husband went up into the attic and did wire in our surround sound. So we do have our speakers in all our corners. That technically wasn't a corner before we pulled the wall down. Then you come into the front hallway, and this is the area that we've been renovating currently along with our bathroom. When we renovated our bathroom, initially when we bought the house, there was a bigger closet right there, and this was just a flat wall. The bathroom door actually opens up onto this wall, and this is actually where our tub was originally. So this wall extended all the way here, and this whole space to here was our tub and our shower in the bathroom. Didn't work for us. The layout wasn't great, so we actually reconfigured this whole space. So now instead of a front hall closet here, we actually just put a nook. We just got these hooks off of, I think, just Amazon. I got a pack of like 10 or 20, and then we had these leftover boards. I don't even remember what from, but they're the exact color that, like this black with this wood is kind of like this is the style that I like. So my husband mounted these for me. So we have these two for us, and then, so these two are more narrow, and then down here more wide is 1 and 1. So the idea is whatever coat you're wearing the most, you will hang here. So one for me, one for my husband, one for my oldest, one for my youngest. And there's a tiny little nook here. So you probably won't be able to fit 4 pairs of shoes, but the idea is whatever kind of everyday shoe or boot you're wearing can go here. Everything else that you need more often than not will go into this closet, which will eventually have a door. We were initially thinking about doing one of those sliding barn doors, but I really wanted a mirror, so that may not happen. It might just be a regular door. But yeah, so we built this whole closet, and this is my husband's brainchild. These are literally like ABS piping that we poked a ton of holes into, like drilled a bunch of holes into, and then spray painted white. And there's a little knob right there you can turn. It's piped right into our venting, so when you turn it on, air blows out of every single one of these. And in the winter, you will be able to put hats and mitts. I mean, you could do jackets, boots if you wanted to, with the idea being all the warm furnace air will come out and hopefully dry things pretty quickly. In the summer, we've actually even used these for like wet bathing suits and towels, but of course the air conditioning doesn't do as good of a job, which is just really nice because we had one of those units that you put over like your vent and then you stack stuff on, but it's just out and in the way, and I didn't like it. So that's in there. And then we're gonna have, you can see that we have hooks like that. I think we have 2 or 3 of those. So they will go on the back wall so we can have all our extra stuff. We'll probably have a shelf up here, and we're gonna put a shelf kind of like right here. So we actually extended it. My husband put all this flooring in now. This used to be just like a vinyl, an old piece of vinyl, and I didn't like it. This, as you can see, is pretty orangey. It's really hard to match a nice floor that goes with this, would still go with this if we eventually stain it, and will go with our decor as we finish this off. So this is much easier, especially because we usually just have a giant mat here anyways, for wet boots and snow and all that. And I'm gonna buy one that goes a little bit better with the space. We just had like a black utility one for the longest time. I'm gonna try and make it look a little nicer. We've been making our own trim out of MDF. And of course, not only with COVID has it been pretty hard to get things that you need, but apparently the like MDF warehouse that supplies our area actually burnt down. So there's been no MDF sheets at Home Depot or our local Home Hardware for months. So I don't know when we're actually gonna get to do the trim here, but that will be nice to have finished. So we'll do trim around the door. This door I'm not a fan of, and I would like to replace it eventually, but I just don't know with what. I haven't figured it out yet. And this is that cottage door that I was telling you about that's gonna go in the back. So it's gonna be the exact same door as this. We replaced, it was one of those really old metal screen doors. So it'll match the front and the back. So these two, this does our hallway here, and this is the outside light. We added this light switch because eventually we would like to put pot lights in here. And there's no light switch in the living room because there's no lights. So our thought was have one here in the hallway for when you first come in the house, and then maybe one over there kind of like closer to the dining room, so that depending on which way you're coming in the room, it's easy enough to turn on the lights. And you can see that we do have it on a dimmer, because if we're going to have pot lights, we'd like to be able to sort of like set the lighting. Replaced this light when we moved in. We installed another light here so that there'd be a light in the closet. There's this mirror, and it actually does have like a rope that's supposed to hang, but my husband didn't like how he placed it. The rope wasn't tight enough, so we want the illusion that the mirror is hanging by the rope, even though it's obviously not. It's mounted on the wall. Anyway, so he patched that, and he's gonna fix that. We still have to paint the ceiling because I haven't painted it yet. And then over here, because this is where the wall was, the old walls were, we had to patch all this. It's looking a lot better than it was, but you can see the edges are still pretty raised, so we still have to smooth it down a little bit more and sand it a bit, and then we'll be able to paint all that area. And we just have to extend this floor into here. So this is our air return, and it was again like one of your old basic, like everybody has them in their old houses kind of vent. I wanted something that just looked a little bit nicer, so I literally bought, this is just like sheet metal. I don't even remember what it's for, but I got it at Home Depot, and then I just got some trim, and I think we even just stapled it or glued it or something. Only thing I wish we could have done, I'm a huge fan of like flat surfaces that have no like screws or nails, and we did have to screw this into the wall. I was really hoping that we could like, I don't know, use the nail gun or something and I could cover up the holes, but we couldn't. So I would love it. I really like clean. So if we could get rid of these, that would be like my ideal, but it does look a lot better than what was here before. So we will obviously also put hardwood here to fill in these spots where the wall was. And you may have noticed, so I feel like I should explain. Yep, if you are a parent, do not try to go to the bathroom when you're home alone with your children, because your 1.5-year-old will find a marker and will color over absolutely everything. But case in point, I mentioned earlier that this couch is super easy to clean. He had drawn like literally all over the table, all over the floor, on the walls, on the couch, even on the shelf behind it. The couch, it literally came off with a baby wipe. So this couch, like I love it. Anything easy to clean is good by me.